This is George Dionne of the Rock is George podcast, and this is a KNAC.com exclusive interview with drummer Sammy Lee of the heavy metal act Red Rain. If I knew absolutely nothing about Red Rain, how would you describe the band's music to me?
So the band's music is something that I call power melodic hard rock. We're not really a heavy metal band per se, but we're hard enough, sort of in that 80s genre music, where some of the things that we've been compared to would say like Aerosmith, Dokken, sort of a Van Halen type music.
How long has the band been around?
The band actually started. I founded the band with our singer Bubba McMichael. Back in 2013 is really when the idea started with Red Rain. Bubba and I were in another band that was 50% cover, 50% original, and then started to turn more original. And some of the one of the songs in particular, I just couldn't get out of my head. And when we started Red Rain, we worked on those songs, which ended up breaking into two different songs. And one was the title track, Red Rain, and part of the song was Not That Way off the first EP we did.
So was Red Rain ever a cover band, or just you went straight into originals and that was it?
Red Rain was all originals, no covers. I like everybody else, I played in bands when I was younger, and did the cover thing, but I really wanted to do our own material, and Bub and I decided that that's the way we were going to go. And to be honest, it is absolutely exceeded any expectation we ever had. Really, the goal was just to put a few songs out, maybe put it up on iTunes, and that would be it. But here we are, and we're very excited about that.
You put out your debut EP in 2021. It was self-titled, and now we're here talking about your first full length, Don't Look Back. It came out October 27th through Deko Entertainment. I noticed there's no songs from the EP, so you wanted to start fresh putting together this studio album?
Well, the good news is, so we did the EP back in 2016, 17, and really had been touring with a bunch of bands. That, like, one of the big tours that we were on back then was with Tesla. And so from that point on, we had played with a lot of the bands from the 80s, and we toured just on those five songs for years. And we had all this material that we really wanted to sit down and start, to get it to materialize to a new album. And I say this all the time, but that's about the only positive thing for us that came out of COVID, because that's when we were able to really, everything slowed down, so we were able to sit down and actually write the album.
So you've been holding on to the EP for a while, or it got a re-release in 2021?
Well, it was not a re-release. We actually recorded it in 2016, 17. So
Okay.
we didn't really. It's kind of confusing. So really, more of a national release was later on, but we were selling them at our concerts.
I got you.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
It can
You got to
be.
always you got to keep people guessing.
Exactly. So with Don't Look Back, you got a couple of singles out right now. Let's talk a little bit about No Peace, No Love. From what I understand, this is your version of Happy Wife, Happy Life.
Correct. So we say happy partner, happy life. It gets a little weird to talk about, but when you're feeling that you and your partner want to have a nice intimate relationship, the last thing you do is we want to piss them off. And so the song is basically tongue in cheek of, what, if there's no peace, there's no love. So that's generally what the song's about.
Are you the primary songwriter, or do you guys collaborate together?
I am not the songwriter. Bubba writes all the lyrics. Bubba comes in with a lot of the ideas. Stevie and Larry have some ideas as well. 90% of it, Bubba has a riff or some sort of chords that he can come up with, and then we all get in a room and sort of try to put the pieces together. I'm, I do my own drum parts, but I'm not a writer. I do more of the business work for the band, so I'm sort of the business manager of the band.
Okay. You got another single out called "Don't Look Back." It features George Lynch from Dawkins. How did you wrangle him for this song?
So this is an interesting story. So again, during COVID, and again, and I'll keep repeating this, and I try not to, but all this period happened over the COVID sort of lockdown shutdown. So um, the band, we were doing really well. We had just gotten off tour with we did a couple show we did a show with YNT and then hooked back up with Tesla as we were on and off with Tesla for about 3 years. Then the world shuts down. Every sort of publicity that we had just, like every other band, just goes to zero, right? And we knew we wanted to do this album, but I felt like we needed to make a splash when we were going to do our new album. So I contacted a good friend of mine, Wendell Neely and Chris Aiken, both two good friends of mine from the Classic Metal Show. Neely, I've known for years, and Chris as well, but Neely is good friends with the Dokken camp, very, very close with them. And we just started talking, and I said, "Hey, man, I need a splash. What do you think the possibilities of getting George Lynch to play on a song?" And Neely was so gracious; he just said, "Done. I'll get it done for you." And that's how it was done. And the funny thing about that is, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell the band. I didn't tell our team. I didn't tell our publicist. I didn't tell our book. I told nobody until it was confirmed, and we had him. So, and George was so gracious and very polite, and really, in my opinion, and two things in my opinion is, number one, I thought he knocked it out of the park, and number two is we got that Dokken Lynch sound that we wanted.
I just read a couple of weeks ago he's doing the final Lynch Mob tour over the next year and a half, maybe 2 years. What do you think of George calling it quits with Lynch Mob?
Yeah, man, I'm sad to see it, because I'm sad to see a lot of those bands that we grew up with to go that route. Um, but again, it makes me happy that I got the George Lynch that I wanted on this song, the sound that we got. Because I had read. It's funny, when he recorded the song, I we had it in the can. We hadn't released it yet. Nobody, no outside of the band at this point knew about it. And then he put an article out saying he doesn't want to be known as a shredder anymore. He wanted to be, he wanted to quit being known as a shredder and didn't really want to do shredding. And I'm like, uh-oh, and then I was like, okay, this is cool, because then we got, if that's the truth, and he wasn't going to do that anymore, we got the last George Lynch shredding. But obviously that's not true, because he'll always be considered that guy. And so, it's sad. It's just sad to see these guys kind of go that route. I think it's part of it's because I don't know, I'm not around to see, but I think like concert going has gone down a little bit. I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
He's got enough other projects that he works on that'll keep him busy. The End Machine, DXM,
DX, yeah,
bunch of other. I can't keep up with his side projects. He's got enough to keep him busy.
yeah. We got, what is it? Sweet
Lynch.
Lynch too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sweet Lynch too. So
And I'm
maybe
sure
Red Rain. Hopefully, maybe George, if you're listening, come join the band. Don't let's not just do a one off.
you have another single and video out. Here I Am. It kind of delves into people dealing with mental health struggles. And you talked about writing this album during the pandemic, and obviously being isolated from people probably wasn't great for a lot of people in their mental health struggles.
That's correct. And it's that, but it's also people, everyday people. Again, I try to explain, I'm not, for me personally, and I think the band in general, we're not in that space of, say, depression or what, obviously, nobody knows what another human being goes through day to day. But you see people struggle. Again, I've said in other interviews, you have obviously COVID and people losing their jobs and so on. So, the mental depression creeps in. But then again, you have the single mother who's struggling, with two or three kids, who, policemen and police women, PTSD from our military, just an everyday struggle for somebody who has this mental depression. And what we're trying to tell you is, hey, listen, there's always somebody there for you, because unfortunately, I think, as we all know, and it even hurts to say it, is when somebody's that deep, again, that we only see from the outside looking in, or looking in, is they take the route that they think is the best route, which is suicide. We know that, right? And so we're saying, hey, look, if you're depressed, and it's also easy for us to say this too. We all know that, but we just want people to reach out. There's always somebody to help, and try to get some help, because you matter. You, as any human being on this earth, matters. And we want people to be happy, and live a good life.
Absolutely. You guys managed to wrangle producer David Ivory, who's worked with Hailstorm. How did you end up getting him involved with making this album?
So David came on board after we signed with our publicity firm, Chipster PR. So one thing that we probably didn't discuss, or I'm not even sure if it's in the notes or not, but we actually put a full length album out prior to the EP called Chasing Shadows, and it was a self-produced, self-indulgent CD. I mean, I don't think we even played any melodies. I think it was all just licks. Um, but out of that came out some of the songs that were on the EP. And when we found Chip, one song in particular he really loved, and so we signed with Chipster PR, and I won't bore you with all the details. And then he said, "Look, we need a producer," and so we got hooked up with David Ivory. David Ivory has done both the EP and just did the full length album as well. And we were so fortunate to get David, because I mean, he's been great for the band. I mean, you always hear that joke, he's the fifth Beatle for us. So, he takes the great thing about David is he took our ideas and didn't change them. He kept our ideas when we wrote the songs, but he added, subtracted, made the songs better, made them flow better. And so we're so thankful for that. And we just have a great relationship with. I talk to David probably once every other week now.
Don't Look Back is available in multiple formats. It's digital, it's CD, and it's on vinyl. Must be a bit exciting to have an album on vinyl.
That's cool. Growing up and buying vinyl and seeing the artwork and seeing the liner notes, and that feeling of actually holding that vinyl in your hand. And I never thought in a million years I'd be on vinyl. And I mean, I know in today's world it's easier than it was a few years ago, but still holding that cover and then flipping around and seeing my ugly mug on the second side is just, it's surreal. So we're very excited about that too.
How did you end up signing with Deko Entertainment? Was that something that Chipster also helped you out with?
So yes, he did, but over the last couple years, again before COVID, we had been drawing interest with some minor labels, um, and for me, there were certain criterias I wanted to be, to check off, that if Chip and I had discussed. And normally the way it works is Chip and I will do the discussions, and then I bring it to the band, and then we'll discuss how we feel, and then I'll go back to Chip. I'm sort of that middle guy, like I told you about. But there were certain criterias we wanted, and after making some decisions, Deco just checked every box for us. They have been wonderful. They've been great. They've allowed us to um, spread the word uh, wider than we ever thought we could be. So it's been a great partnership so far for us.
What does Red Rain have lined up for live performances to promote the album?
So right now, that's the next step. Obviously, the progression. Our first step was to obviously get everything ready for the album release, which was 2 weeks ago, and we did that. And now we're in meetings to again start booking for 2024, which we are now. We're now in the works with that. If you'd asked me 2 days ago, I would have said we're setting up a meeting, but now we're in the works. Actually, have a call tomorrow to see where we are, and what we're looking at. But yes, we will be playing some shows in 2024. I just don't have that information yet. Again, as that's in the beginning stages. But if anybody wants to check out when we're playing, obviously on all of our socials, it'll be there. So it's Red Rain, and it's REIGN band. So Red Rain band is on all our socials. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, blah, everything. And we're on every downloadable site musically. And also we're on YouTube. There's live videos of past couple tours that we've done. So yeah, we're easy to find if you look for it.
Of all the live shows you've done to this point, I know you've opened for Dokken and Extreme, Jackal, Lita Ford, Tesla. Is there a particular show that stands out as one of your favorites?
There is. So in 2017, our first Tesla tour, it took us from Fort Wayne, Indiana, to Cincinnati, to Michigan, to Pennsylvania, and then the last show was in Richmond, our hometown. And we played to a sold out show here, and that's very special, because my some of my family was there, my wife was there, and a lot of hometown friends were there to support the band, and that's very special. So I'd say that was pretty special, and that actually there's a video up on YouTube of the last song we do, "Not That Way," from that Richmond show. So I watched that a little more often than anything else because that was one for the books for us.
On the flip side of that, have you ever had one of those Spinal Tap moments where everything went comically wrong?
No, we've been fortunate. The good thing about this band is these guys like to work, and these guys, we dig in, and we enjoy being around each other, and we enjoy playing on stage with each other, and so I think that's half the battle. Have we had disagreements? Absolutely, but they're handled, kind of care, with kit gloves, that we don't let it get out of control. So we've been very fortunate. I mean, do we go on stage and miss notes? Absolutely. Who doesn't, right? Um, I go back to that Eddie Van Halen quote, if you make a mistake once, make it again, and everybody thinks you did it on purpose. So, that's something that that we do. Everybody does that. But no, I can't say in all the shows that we've done, I can't say we've had a bad show, because listen, we're lucky to be playing live. So every show is a good show, even if it's a bad show.
Do you have any other music projects you work with? I know your guitarist Stevie Shred plays in Bombshell.
That's correct. I do not, and nobody else really does. And Stevie is in a band here in Richmond that plays out a lot, and it's great. It works for him, and we all support that. And but and Stevie also knows when it's Red Rain time, it's Red Rain time. So we're good there. He's fully aware. Stevie's as committed as anybody else is. So I actually have been asked to do something else, a little more recording that I may do, but it's nothing significant enough where that it would take away from this band. The four guys, including myself in this band, we're committed to this. We're committed to making this go. So whatever, and that's what's great again about this. We'll do whatever we got to do to make this work.
You mentioned Don't Look Back was written during the pandemic. So are you working on new music for the next album?
No, not yet. We'd actually like to go out and play live and play some of these tunes live. So I do know Bubba has some songs already in the chamber, and I told him, "Oh, dude, let's slow your roll, man. Let's get this out first." But he's always writing. I mean, he's consistently writing. He has a little studio at his house, and he just sits and writes. So I think there is other material, but we got to get this going first. I don't want to, I don't want to jump. I don't want to jump over this and start doing new stuff. So again, the next progression is the shows.
You mentioned you and Bubba used to be in a band prior to this. How did you guys first meet?
Oh my God, I met Bubba in 1987. I was in a cover band in Richmond, and he was in a band, and we actually tried to bring him into our band, and it just kind of didn't work out that way. But we remained kind of friendly. We didn't see each other a lot, and then when we formed the band we were in, I formed with a couple other guys, and one of the guitar players in that band said, "Hey, I got a friend of mine who can sing," and it was Bubba, which was great, and we got to reconnect. and it just worked out. I mean, Bubba's just the salt of the earth. He's a good dude, and he just likes to get to work, and we hit it off. Not that we weren't friendly before, but I mean, as soon as he got in the band, it just clicked even better. And when that band fell off, we had just been talking. We're just going to go do our thing. So known him a long time.
Well, those are all the questions I have for you today, Sammy. The new Red Rain
Okay.
album, Don't Look Back. It's out now on Deko Entertainment. Sounds great. I want to thank you for speaking with KNAC.com and giving us a little more insight on it.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I always end this way by saying thank you so much for helping spread the word of Red Rain and bands like us who need that little push. And I can't thank you enough, and I appreciate your time as well.